The Silent Heir, Part 4, The Awakening. The next morning, Isabella stood before the door to her father's study with the brass key clenched tightly in her fist. The corridor was silent, but she felt as if the portraits of her ancestors lining the walls were watching her, judging her for daring to cross into forbidden territory. She pushed the door open. The room was heavy with memory. The scent of Richard Caldwell clung to the air, a mixture of cigar smoke, leather, and power. The desk dominated the room, a fortress of oak polished to a deep gleam. Isabella had only been inside the study a handful of times in her life, always as a child, always dismissed quickly with, "Not now, Isabella. Leave business to your brother." Her knees felt weak, but she stepped inside. The cabinet loomed in the corner, tall and locked, just as Mrs. Hughes had said. Isabella slid the key into the brass lock. Her breath hitched as it turned smoothly. With a low groan, the cabinet opened. Rows of ledgers filled the shelves, their spines marked with years and cryptic symbols. Thick folders bulged with documents sealed in red wax. She reached for the first one that caught her eye. LZ 314. Her pulse hammered, the same code from the slip of paper. She laid it on the desk and opened it. Inside were contracts, financial transfers, and letters typed in her father's precise, uncompromising style. One page listed bank accounts in Zurich and Geneva. Another contained detailed notes on foreign subsidiaries. Then she saw the date at the top of a memorandum. March 17th, 1992. She gasped. 170392. The first part of the code. She flipped pages feverishly. A report described Michael, though not by name, pushing for a merger. Richard's handwritten note in the margin. Reckless, driven by ego, not sense. Must watch him. Her hand shook. She read on. Another folder bore a tab marked 09X. Inside was an envelope, sealed with black wax. She broke it open. Her father's handwriting flowed across the page. Isabella, if you are reading this, it means you found the path I left you. You were never meant to be a shadow, though I fear I treated you like one. I'm deeply sorry for that. Michael hungers for power, but power without conscience will destroy everything I built. I failed to see this early on. I could not entrust him with all that mattered. I entrust it to you. Within these files are truths. Study them. You will see the fault lines. When the time comes, you must decide what to do. The future of Caldwell Industries may rest on your shoulders. Father. Tears blurred her vision. She pressed the letter to her chest. For years, she believed her father never saw her. And yet here was proof he had not only seen her, but chosen her. Isabella turned back to the documents. She found letters addressed to board members, men she recalled vaguely from childhood dinners, names whispered with respect. One to a James Whitmore read, "Your concerns about Michael's proposal are valid. He courts risk recklessly, obsessed with appearances rather than substance. If he inherits unchecked, the company will not survive long." Another, to a woman named Catherine Dunn, "Your loyalty has not gone unnoticed. If one day Michael's ambition endangers us, I hope you will stand with the true interest of Caldwell Industries, not with his pride." Isabella whispered the names aloud. Whitmore, Done. Allies her father had once trusted. Allies who might yet be disillusioned with Michael. Her fingers dug deeper, uncovering a report marked confidential. 1999. The document detailed questionable accounting in a South American venture. In the margin, Richard had scrawled, "Michael concealed losses. Unacceptable." Her stomach twisted. Michael had manipulated their father even then. The more she read, the more she saw the pattern. Michael's charm masking recklessness, his ambition endangering the company, her father watching, recording, doubting. "Why didn't you stop him?" Isabella whispered to the papers. "Why leave it to me?" The silence of the study answered her, because Richard had known. Michael would never be satisfied with restraint. But Isabella, the overlooked, the underestimated, would not be suspected until it was too late. A creak outside the door made her heart leap. She hurried to gather the documents, stuffing them back into the folders. She slid them into the cabinet, locked it, and shoved the key back into her pocket. The door opened. Michael leaned in, eyebrow arched. "Well, well, playing scholar in father's chair now?" "I was just remembering him," Isabella said quickly, her voice wavering. Michael's eyes narrowed. For a moment, she thought he saw through her, that he would rip the truth from her trembling hands. Then he smirked. "How touching. Don't get too comfortable. This is my house now." He shut the door. Isabella sank into her father's chair, heart pounding. She drew the hidden letter from her pocket and read it again. The words steadied her. "I entrust it to you." She looked at the ledgers still visible in the cabinet. She had only scratched the surface. There were layers of secrets, trails her father had carefully marked, codes only she now possessed. For the first time since her return, Isabella felt something unfamiliar stirring inside her. Not just hurt, not just humiliation, resolve. She whispered into the silence, her voice steady. "I'll follow the trail, Father. I'll finish what you began." And as the pocket watch ticked steadily in her hand, Isabella Caldwell no longer felt like a forgotten daughter. She felt like the heir to a secret, powerful enough to bring her brother's empire to its knees. Testing her power. The Caldwell boardroom had always been Michael's stage. The long mahogany table, the gleaming windows overlooking the city, the portraits of former chairmen, everything fed his hunger for dominance. Isabella sat near the end, silent, invisible. But today, for the first time, she carried a weapon. The letter from her father lay folded in her purse, the words still echoing, "I entrust it to you." She straightened in her chair. Michael strode in, trailed by assistants, his suit immaculate, his smile rehearsed. "Gentlemen, Catherine," he said, nodding to the only woman present. "We'll keep this brief. Caldwell Industries is moving into a new era." His voice filled the room, all confidence and swagger. He didn't notice Isabella, watching him closely, studying the fissures beneath his polished surface. When the reports were circulated, Isabella raised her hand. "I'd like to review the quarterly filings in more detail," she said evenly. Michael's smile flickered. "Of course, but they've already been vetted." "I'm a shareholder," Isabella reminded him. Her tone was soft but steady. "I'd like full access." A pause. Chairs shifted. Catherine Dunn glanced at her, with faint surprise and interest. Michael's jaw tightened, but he laughed it off. Naturally, transparency is what we value most here. Liar, Isabella thought. After the meeting, she lingered by the windows. James Whitmore, her father's old ally, approached. His hair was thinner now, but his eyes were sharp. "You asked the right question," he murmured. Richard would have approved. Her throat tightened. "You knew him better than I did." Whitmore studied her face. "Don't underestimate yourself." Richard always played his cards close to his chest. If he left you something, it means he trusted you. Before she could answer, Michael's voice boomed from across the room. "James, let's discuss Zurich." Whitmore gave Isabella a small, almost conspiratorial nod before walking away. The following week, Isabella began using her rights more assertively. She requested access to subsidiary reports, pushed for details on overseas accounts, and quietly questioned mid-level managers in corridors. To her surprise, not everyone stonewalled her. Catherine Dunn invited her to lunch at a discreet cafe away from the Caldwell Tower. "You remind me of him," Catherine said over coffee. Richard had a way of seeing straight through the nonsense. Isabella leaned forward. "Then tell me the truth. Do you trust Michael?" Catherine stirred her coffee slowly. "Michael is magnetic. He makes people believe, but he doesn't listen. And in business, arrogance is poison. The board won't admit it, but many of us are uneasy. If you keep pressing, you'll find allies." That night, Isabella sat in her room, documents spread across the bed. She scribbled notes in her journal. Michael, arrogant, dismissive of detail, needs applause, watches everyone, but never himself. She underlined the last phrase twice. She thought of the moment Michael had brushed her off in the study, of the way he basked in the boardroom's attention, desperate for admiration. Her father had been right. Power was Michael's obsession, but it was also his weakness. The next board meeting confirmed it. Michael launched into a speech about expanding aggressively into Asia. "Gentlemen, the future is ours. If we hesitate, we lose." Isabella rose from her seat. "Expansion without analysis is gambling." The room stilled. She felt every eye on her, but her voice did not waver. "I want to see the risk assessments in writing." Michael's smile was tight, brittle. "My dear sister, you don't understand international markets." "I understand balance sheets," Isabella countered. "And I understand recklessness." Father kept detailed notes on every expansion. "If you want my support, I expect nothing less." The silence was sharp. But then Catherine's voice cut through. "She's right." Whitmore nodded. "Agreed." Isabella sat down slowly, her heart pounding. She had drawn her first line. Michael's gaze burned into her. But behind the anger, she saw something else, a flicker of doubt. Later, when the boardroom emptied, Michael cornered her in the corridor. "You're playing a dangerous game," he hissed. "Am I?" Isabella kept her eyes level with his. "Or are you afraid I'm finally playing it all?" His lips twisted into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Careful, Izzy. You're not strong enough to fight me." She walked past him without answering, clutching her purse where her father's letter rested. For the first time, she didn't feel like an intruder. She felt like a challenger. And she knew the game had only just begun.